So, I went and I saw Terrifier 3 last night, and I did a video for that, but let's just say it was late at night and I was tired, and it just turned into like a 20-minute diatribe about this movie. So, now that I have had a good full day to sort of think about the movie and whatnot, um, and be, I guess, a bit more fair to it. Uh, and now that I'm in a better frame of mind because I'm not really super tired, now I'm ready to finally talk about it. Which, if if I can, because literally it's a 20-minute video of just me rambling on. But if I can salvage any of it or upload any of it, I totally will. And I'll put it in right here. I look at what I did. Look at this. I pulled up the trailer, and I put the movies out. I put the movies out just for me to. Can't see it. But if not, then it's whatever. I am, right off the bat, I'm a huge fan of these movies. I got the first two right here, and already they announced the 4K for Terrifier 3 already, and I think the street date is December 17th, and I'll definitely be pre-ordering that. But I'm a huge Terrifier fan. I kind of just found, like, I just kind of stumbled upon the first one about a year and a half ago. And going into this movie, I was super excited. I would say maybe even a little too excited. And after watching it, I'm not going to go full into the story. If you're a Terrifier fan, you know what the story is. You've seen the trailers. You've seen the interviews. Or maybe. You know what the story is. My thoughts basically on this movie was I do like it. I do definitely like it. At the time, I think, because with Damien Leone as a director, obviously these first two movies, and if you've seen some of his other movies like All Hallows Eve, you'll see that he put, like, his movies are extremely gory. And going into Terrifier 3, I was expecting that. And admittedly, from what I had just heard from articles and stuff about people getting sick or leaving showings or whatever, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared shitless. But I sat there and I watched it with these two older women sitting next to me, which I was sitting there and I was like, if one of these women throw up on me, I'm going to be pissed. But they didn't. They were actually laughing throughout the movie, which makes me wonder about their mental health, but it's whatever. I'm not here to judge. At least not people, and at least not out loud. I do like this movie. Now that I've had a day to sort of think about it, mull it over, go back over the movie, I do like it. But I do have to say, I think it's probably my least favorite out of the series. I don't know. I was going into it expecting gory. That's right off the bat. If you're going into one of these movies, you need to expect that. And depending on what type of person you are, you might need to have a barf bag or something ready. But again, with Damien Leone as a director, I was expecting it, but at the same time, I wasn't. It's so weird. I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it at the same time. I was expecting it to be super gory and super grisly, but I wasn't expecting how far it would go in some scenes. Now, this is a spoiler review or whatever. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to put it in the title because literally I can barely talk about this movie without bringing up spoilers, and I can barely talk about some of my problems without bringing up spoilers. But Art the Clown, I think probably, and again, I love Art, obviously. I have both the fucking movies right here. I have a t-shirt. It's dirty because I wore it to the theater. And if I showed the clip, you'll see that I was wearing it. But I really do love Art the Clown. I think he has the potential to become a huge horror icon because really he just has no rules. He kills anybody and everybody. Doesn't matter what age. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. He'll kill you. And in this one, more so than these two he just kind of went more for like adults, which I was like, okay, cool, I can watch this. But what bothered me kind of about this movie was he was going after people my age and younger than me, and I'm not gonna lie, it disturbed the shit out of me. But then again, I don't think that makes the movie worse. If anything, it's not something I'm crazy about, but it is one of its strengths. My only, really one of the few things I would have to say is I think with Leone getting such a big budget compared to these two, I think he was just like more gore, and with all that gore that he put in there, there was just barely any room for any characters or really not too much character development. And even with all the gore that's still in the movie, there's like a few kills that happen off screen, which was kind of surprising, honestly, because I'm like, if you were pushing it into overdrive for all these kills, why are you not showing these? But I don't know, maybe it'll be explained in the next one, maybe, I don't know. So in this one, obviously Art's back. He's back around for Christmas. And the little girl just kind of disappears from Terrifier 2. She just kind of disappears and she's replaced with Victoria from the first movie. I'm not sure how I felt about that. I didn't hate it, admittedly, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. Now let's talk about some of the scenes that disturbed me, because I am all over the place apparently. One scene was him in the mall, and he's sitting there, he's pretending to be Santa, and he's handing all the kids out toys and stuff. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, this is kind of a nice break from just all that gore and stuff. And being in a theater, because I've only seen a few other horror movies like actually in the theater, and they were nowhere near as disturbing as this. So I kind of wasn't used to it, and I was kind of like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But there's a scene, he's handing out all the toys and whatnot, and I'm like, okay, this is a nice break. Maybe as far as trying to scare or whatever, maybe what he's trying to do is he's just trying to fuck with the parents. He doesn't really want to get the kids. Maybe he just wants to fuck with the parents. Okay, cool. It's a sweet scene. I'll watch it. And then one kid goes, hey mom, what's this? And he opens the box, and just a big ass fucking explosion. And there's limbs all over the place. There's kids' bodies with organs, and I just remember sitting there and I went, should have known. Should have known. Should have known. And I feel like, I will say, with the runtime being 2 hours, it really did fly by. And part of that is because I don't feel like this movie has a great 3-act structure, but that's because everything at the end of this movie is setting up for a 4th movie. So I feel like that's kind of why it doesn't feel like it has a very good 3-act structure, because it doesn't really end, it just kind of stops, admittedly. They add a little something there to try to make it feel like an ending, but realistically, you could have cut it out and it wouldn't have made any difference. The movie doesn't end, it just stops, which is probably one of my biggest problems with it, is that the movie spends most of the time focusing so much on the gore, more than the characters, honestly, which, don't get me wrong, I came back for the gore, but more than that, I came back for the characters. I came back to see, is she on the back here? Kind of. I came back to see Sienna. You can't see her there. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I came back to see Sienna. You stay on, you fucking cunt. I came back to see Sienna. I came back to see more of her story, to get more of her character. And the movie just, most of her screen time is just devoted to being scared or acting crazy. And it's not Lauren Lavera's fault. She's a wonderful actress and she gives a great performance with what she's given. But it was just kind of disappointing, admittedly. Jonathan doesn't have much screen time at all. And not only that, he gets killed off screen. Or at least it's implied that he gets killed off screen. Whether or not he actually does, I guess we'll have to wait for the next movie to see. But it is heavily implied that he got killed horribly off screen, which I'm kind of grateful for. If it is real, if he really did die, I am grateful for, because he was definitely one of my favorite characters, and I don't know if I would have been able to watch that, I'm not gonna lie. But Sienna being tortured was pretty funny. That was, my god, I'm crazy. Anyway, I wish I could get my thoughts in order. I feel like, obviously, if you're a fan and you're going into this movie, you expect gore, and I understand if people either comment or say like, "Oh, you said you were expecting the gore, and then your biggest problem was the gore." My biggest problem isn't the gore, it's that they spent so much time on it. They spent a lot of time on it in these two movies, don't get me wrong. That bedroom scene was fucking brutal. I remember watching that for the first time, and I was genuinely disturbed. So, like, no, these movies are very bloody, but they also, more so the second one than the first one, they also focused a lot on the characters, and they focused a lot on the story. It didn't feel like it was just scenes of gore being strung along this really thin plot, which I felt like the third movie was. And not only that, you can see where the budget went, because the gore scenes are so realistic and so gruesome and just so disturbing. And then meanwhile, it'll cut to Sienna and her cousin Gabby in a mall, and it'll just be like a blank wall with one picture and like 4 racks. And it's like, okay, so you just spent all your budget pretty much on the gore and some of the production design. Okay, cool, whatever. But I will say, I think last night I rated it a 6 out of 10. Now that I've had more time to think about it, now that I've had more time to put things into perspective a bit, I would probably say I'd give this like a very soft, almost flaccid 7 out of 10. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it, man. Honestly, I really can't put my finger on it. And I want to say, it's not that I don't like this movie at all. And genuinely, I think if I get it on Blu-ray or 4K or whatever, and I just watch it here at home and not at the theater where the speakers are just thumping, like the speakers were fucking loud. I left that theater with the biggest headache. I think, which that's obviously, I don't think that's the movie's fault. So that's why I think if I were to buy it and watch it here at home, I would probably like it more, just because it's not fucking giving me a migraine. But yeah, Terrifier 3, 7 out of 10. I do like it. I really do. I just have a few problems with it. And yeah, so thank you for watching this review. It's definitely a lot better than the last one I filmed, I'll say that much. But see ya. Art the Clown.